Let me tell you something, people think attraction is just about looks, money, or charm. But the truth is, none of that lasts. What keeps someone hooked on you? What makes a man addicted to you? Not in a toxic way, but in a way where he can't stop thinking about you. Isn't superficial. It's spiritual. It's energetic. It's the way you move through life with the qualities that come from the highest power, God. See, beauty fades, but behaviors rooted in divine energy don't just attract a man. They captivate him. They pull him in again and again, because he knows he's not just with any woman. He's with a woman who carries depth, light, and an energy he can't find anywhere else. When you embody these beautiful behaviors, you stop chasing love. You become the kind of woman who doesn't just enter a man's life, she shifts it. And when that happens, trust me, he doesn't want to go anywhere else. Today, I'm going to give you 5 beautiful behaviors that will make him addicted to you. Behaviors that come not from trying to impress, but from living in alignment with the greatness God already placed inside you. Confidence without arrogance is one of the most magnetic forces on this planet. Let's get real for a second. Everybody says, be confident, right? But very few actually understand what confidence looks like in action. People confuse it with arrogance. They confuse it with ego. They confuse it with being loud, always showing off, or trying to prove something. But confidence isn't about being the loudest voice in the room. It's about being the calmest. True confidence is silent power. It's the ability to walk into a room, not saying much, but everybody feels your presence. Let me give you an everyday example. Imagine you're at a coffee shop. 2 women walk in. The first one is clearly trying hard. She's loud, she's overly dressed, she's scanning the room to see who's watching her. Her energy screams, please notice me. Now the second woman walks in. She's dressed well, but not screaming for attention. She orders her coffee, smiles genuinely at the barista, sits down, and starts reading a book. She's not performing for anyone. She's not fishing for attention. Yet, people keep looking at her. Why? Because she has confidence without arrogance. She doesn't need to say, look at me. Her energy already does that. This is the kind of confidence men get addicted to. Why? Because men, just like women, can sense when someone is needy. And neediness is unattractive. It doesn't matter how beautiful you are on the outside. If your energy says, I need you to validate me, people can feel it. But when your energy says, I'm whole, I'm enough, I know my worth, that's when people can't help but be drawn to you. That's when a man feels addicted to your presence. Not because you begged for his attention, but because you didn't need it. Think about this. Arrogance is fueled by insecurity. A person who brags constantly, who needs to one-up others, who always has to prove they're better. That's not confidence, that's fear disguised as power. True confidence doesn't compete. True confidence says, I know who I am, I know what I bring, and I don't need to step on anyone else to shine. Here's another real-life example. You're at work and your boss throws a problem at the team. One person panics, overreacts, and starts blaming others. Another person steps in, calmly says, all right, let's figure this out, and takes action without making a scene. Who do you respect more? Who do you trust more? It's the calm one. That's confidence. And in relationships, it's the same thing. A woman who can stay grounded when life throws challenges isn't just attractive, she's unforgettable. Men are drawn to women who carry themselves with this quiet strength because it makes them feel safe and inspired. Confidence without arrogance says, I know I can handle life, and I don't need you to complete me. I choose to be with you. Do you realize how powerful that is? When a man feels chosen, not needed, he becomes addicted. He knows you're with him because you want him, not because you need him to survive. That's a game changer. Now let me flip this around on you. Maybe you've had moments where you doubted yourself. Maybe you looked in the mirror and thought, I'm not pretty enough. I'm not successful enough. I'm not good enough. Guess what? Every single human being feels that way at some point. The difference is how you carry those insecurities. Confident people don't ignore them. They just don't let those doubts control their life. Confidence is not about never feeling fear. It's about moving forward anyway. It's about saying, yeah, I have flaws, but I'm still worthy of love, respect, and greatness. That's what makes confidence so addictive. It's real. And people crave real. A man can see through arrogance. He can sense insecurity. But when he feels a woman stand strong in who she is, it's like oxygen to him. He wants more of it, because deep down, every man wants a woman who makes him feel inspired, not drained. He wants a woman who brings peace, not chaos. And that peace starts with your confidence. So, how do you practice this in your daily life? It's simple things. Walk with your head held high, not looking down like you don't deserve space. Speak clearly, not apologizing for every word. Don't over-explain yourself just to get approval. And most importantly, set boundaries. Confidence without arrogance is about saying, I know what I deserve, and I won't accept less. Not with anger, not with arrogance, but with calm certainty. That kind of energy makes people respect you immediately. I'll leave you with this: confidence isn't about being perfect. It's about being authentic. The most beautiful, addictive energy in the world is a woman who is unapologetically herself. She doesn't chase, she attracts. She doesn't need, she chooses. And when a man meets a woman like that, he can't help but think, I can't lose her. Because in her presence, he doesn't just see beauty. He sees strength, peace, and a kind of energy that is rare. That's what makes confidence without arrogance one of the most beautiful behaviors a woman can embody. ChatGPT said playfulness is one of the most underestimated powers a woman has. Too often, people think attraction has to be serious, intense, or dramatic. But the truth is, what really makes a man addicted to you isn't just your looks or even your intelligence. It's your ability to make life lighter, more fun, more enjoyable. Playful femininity is not about being childish. It's about bringing joy, warmth, and spontaneity into moments that could otherwise be dull or heavy. It's about having an energy that reminds him why life is worth enjoying. Let's be honest, life is stressful. Men face pressures every single day. Work deadlines, responsibilities, expectations, the weight of providing, the weight of proving. And when he comes around you, he doesn't want more stress. He doesn't want to feel like he's in another business meeting. He wants to feel alive. He wants to feel free. He wants to feel that spark of joy that only comes when someone knows how to laugh, how to tease, how to enjoy the small things. That's where playful femininity comes in. Imagine this: a man has had a long, exhausting day. He walks into a room where his partner is waiting. Now, one version of that scenario could be her immediately unloading complaints, stressing about bills, criticizing something minor he forgot. That instantly turns the energy heavy. But picture another version. She greets him with a playful smile, maybe teases him lightly about how he always manages to spill coffee on his shirt, or throws him a pillow jokingly for being late. Suddenly, the tension melts. He laughs. The stress fades. He feels lighter. In that moment, she's not just his partner. She's his escape. That's the power of playful femininity. And let's be clear, playful doesn't mean fake. It doesn't mean pretending everything is perfect or never addressing serious issues. It means knowing when to shift the energy, when to inject lightness, when to remind him that life isn't just about surviving. It's about living. A man becomes addicted to that feeling because in a world full of pressure, he finds a woman who brings joy into the ordinary. Think about children for a second. Kids can turn a cardboard box into a spaceship. They can make a game out of nothing. That same playful energy, when carried into adulthood, is magical. It doesn't mean immaturity. It means imagination, creativity, and joy. When a woman has the ability to laugh at herself, to not take every little thing so seriously, it makes her magnetic. Because here's the truth: men don't stay addicted to beauty. They stay addicted to how you make them feel. And a playful, feminine energy makes a man feel lighter, freer, happier. Here's a daily life example. Picture a couple in the kitchen cooking together. One person could focus on the mess, the timing, the recipe being perfect. That turns it into a chore. The other person, though, could turn it into a playful moment, flower on the cheek, dancing while chopping vegetables, laughing when the sauce spills. Which version creates more connection? Which version does a man crave to come home to? It's obvious. Playful energy turns ordinary tasks into extraordinary memories. And here's the best part. Playfulness is contagious. When you bring that energy, he relaxes. He starts laughing more. He feels more free to express himself without fear of judgment. Suddenly, he doesn't just enjoy being with you. He craves it. Because every time he's with you, his stress lowers, his happiness rises, and his heart feels lighter. That's what addiction is in love. It's not about control. It's about creating emotions that someone can't get enough of. Another powerful aspect of playful femininity is teasing. Not in a mean way, but in a way that makes him feel seen and desired. For example, let's say he tries to impress you with something and messes it up. You could roll your eyes and criticize, or you could tease him with a smile, making it fun instead of heavy. That small difference changes everything. Teasing in a loving way builds attraction because it keeps the energy flirtatious. It reminds him of the early days of dating, when everything felt exciting. Now, some women fear that being playful makes them look less serious, less mature. But that's a myth. The truth is, the most confident women are the ones who know how to be playful, because they're not afraid of looking silly. They don't need to be perfect all the time. And that freedom is incredibly attractive. It says, I don't take myself too seriously, and I don't need to prove anything. That's irresistible. Think about it. Have you ever been around someone who's always negative, always serious, always heavy? How did it feel? Draining, right? Now compare that to being around someone who can laugh, who can lighten the room, who can make even boring situations enjoyable. You want to be around them more. That's exactly how men feel with women who embody playful femininity. And here's the beauty of it. It doesn't take grand gestures. It's in the little things. A playful text in the middle of his day. A silly nickname. A light-hearted challenge, like racing him to the car. These small moments build a unique bond that no other woman can replace, because it's personal, it's emotional, it's alive. At the end of the day, playful femininity is about reminding him that love isn't just serious business. It's also joy, laughter, and fun. And when a man experiences that energy with you, he doesn't just like it, he becomes addicted to it. Because in your presence, he remembers that life isn't just about working hard and carrying burdens. Life is about enjoying the journey, and with you, that journey feels unforgettable. Emotional safety is one of the most powerful gifts you can give in a relationship, and yet it's one of the most overlooked. People talk about attraction, they talk about chemistry, they talk about looks, but what really makes a man addicted to you is how he feels when he's with you. And nothing makes him feel more connected, more drawn in, than emotional safety. Because here's the truth. Most men live in a world where they are told to hide their emotions. From a young age, many men are told, don't cry, don't show weakness, be strong, suck it up. And while that might make them look tough on the outside, inside, it often leaves them starved for a place where they can finally breathe, where they can finally be vulnerable without being judged. When a woman becomes that safe place, she becomes unforgettable, because she gives him something the rest of the world rarely offers: freedom to be human. He doesn't have to perform. He doesn't have to pretend. He doesn't have to wear the mask that he wears at work, with his friends, or even with his family. He can take it off and just be. And that is addicting. Think about it in daily life. Imagine a man comes home from a tough day. Maybe his boss was on his case. Maybe the deal he was chasing fell through. Maybe he feels like a failure in that moment. If he walks in and you immediately criticize him, question his strength, or laugh at his struggle, he retreats. He builds another wall. He thinks, I can't show her this side of me. And once that happens, the connection begins to die. But if he walks in, and instead of judgment, he finds compassion, a calm presence that says, it's okay, I see you, I'm here, everything changes. He feels safe. He feels valued, not just for his victories, but for his humanity. That's when he starts to crave your presence, because with you, he feels whole. Emotional safety doesn't mean you let him get away with bad behavior. It doesn't mean you're weak. In fact, it's the opposite. It's strength. It takes strength to listen without judgment. It takes strength to hold space for someone else's emotions. It takes strength to remind him, through your actions, you don't have to be perfect for me to love and respect you. That's real power. Here's another daily life example. Picture two couples in conflict. In the first couple, the woman gets defensive, raises her voice, and cuts him off. The man shuts down, says nothing, and withdraws. They both walk away feeling more distant. In the second couple, the woman listens first. She may not agree with everything he says, but she gives him the space to speak without fear of being attacked. When it's her turn, she calmly shares her perspective, without insults, without tearing him down. What happens? He feels heard. She feels heard. And instead of building walls, they build bridges. That's emotional safety in action. The truth is, men are not addicted to women who create chaos. They are addicted to women who create peace. Peace doesn't mean boring. Peace means stability. It means he knows that when he's with you, he won't be destroyed for showing his heart. He knows that when he reveals his fears, his insecurities, or even his mistakes, you won't use them as weapons against him later. And that kind of loyalty, that kind of emotional safety, is rare. That's why when a man finds it, he will hold on for dear life. Think about your closest friendships. Why are you so close to those people? It's not because they're perfect. It's because you feel safe with them. You know you can call them when you're at your worst, not just your best. That's exactly how it works in love. The bond doesn't grow from only celebrating each other's highlights. The bond grows from weathering storms together and still choosing each other after. And here's the beauty of emotional safety. It creates depth. Surface level attraction is everywhere. Anybody can look good on Instagram. Anybody can act charming on a first date. But depth, that's rare. Depth is what makes a man say, I don't just want her body, I don't just want her beauty, I want her soul. Because he knows with you, he can show his soul too. Of course, this doesn't mean you become his therapist. It doesn't mean you fix all his problems. That's not your role. What it means is, you give him the permission to be real. You give him the courage to take off the armor. And in doing so, you create a connection so strong, so unshakable, that no superficial attraction could ever compete. Now imagine the ripple effect. When a man feels safe with you emotionally, he starts to open up more. He shares his dreams, his fears, his plans. He begins to trust you on levels he doesn't trust anyone else. And because of that, he doesn't just see you as a partner. He sees you as his home. Home isn't a place, it's a feeling. And when you give a man emotional safety, you become his home. That's what makes him addicted. So, remember, this emotional safety doesn't come from perfection. It comes from presence. It comes from listening, from empathy, from creating a space where he can be fully human without fear. That's the kind of behavior that doesn't just attract a man. It captivates him, anchors him, and makes him never want to let you go. Passion and purpose are two qualities that transform a woman from simply attractive to unforgettable. There's something magnetic about a woman who wakes up in the morning with fire in her eyes, who has direction, who lives with a sense of mission. She doesn't need a man to complete her, because she already feels complete in her own journey. And when a man encounters a woman like that, he feels a pull he can't explain, because her passion and purpose make her energy irresistible. Let's break this down in real life. Imagine two women. One spends her days waiting for someone to call her, scrolling through social media, comparing herself to others, letting boredom dictate her moods. The other wakes up with excitement. Maybe she has a career she loves. Maybe she's working on a side project. Maybe she's pursuing art, fitness, writing, or anything that lights her up. She's not waiting for life to happen. She's creating it. Which one is more attractive? Which one feels alive? Without a doubt, the second woman. And that's the point. Passion makes you radiant. It makes you glow in a way that no makeup, no outfit, and no filter ever could. Men are deeply drawn to women who have their own sense of purpose, because it shows strength and independence. When a man sees a woman fully engaged in her life, he realizes she doesn't need him, she chooses him. And that difference is massive. Neediness pushes people away. Choice pulls them closer. When he knows you're not looking for him to rescue you, but instead you're inviting him to share in your already meaningful life, he feels lucky. He feels honored. That's what makes him addicted, not to the role of a provider or savior, but to the energy of a partner. Daily life shows us this in so many ways. Picture a woman who's passionate about fitness. She's not obsessed with it to prove something. but because she loves how it makes her feel strong and alive. Every time she comes back from a run, her energy lights up the room. Or maybe it's a woman who loves cooking, not because she has to, but because she enjoys experimenting with flavors, creating, and sharing joy through food. Or maybe she's building her career, writing her book, painting her art, or working with children. Whatever it is, passion radiates. It gives her stories to tell, energy to share, and a spark that captivates everyone around her. And here's the secret. Passion is contagious. When you're passionate, you inspire the man next to you. You remind him of his own dreams, his own potential, his own purpose. Many men lose themselves in the grind of life, forgetting what excites them. When he sees you fully alive in your purpose, he doesn't just admire you. He feels awakened. He thinks, if she can live like that, so can I. You become his muse, not because you try to, but because your energy naturally uplifts him. Purpose, on the other hand, gives you direction. Passion is the fire, but purpose is the compass. Purpose is knowing what matters to you, what you stand for, what you're working toward. It doesn't mean you have everything figured out, but it does mean you're not wandering aimlessly. You have standards, you have values, you have goals, and men respect that deeply. A woman with purpose isn't swayed by every little distraction. She doesn't waste time on people who don't align with her vision. She walks with clarity, and that clarity is intoxicating. Think about it like this. If your life is an empty canvas, you're waiting for someone else to come paint on it. But if your life is already a vibrant painting, filled with colors from your own passions and dreams, then when a man comes along, he doesn't define your life, he adds to it. That's the difference. That's why men become addicted to women with passion and purpose. They don't feel burdened by her. They feel elevated by her. Here's a simple but powerful example. Imagine you're on a date. He asks you, "So, what do you love doing?" One woman shrugs and says, "I don't know. Nothing really." The conversation falls flat. Another woman lights up and says, "I've been working on this project and I get so excited about it. It challenges me, but it makes me feel alive." Her eyes sparkle, her energy lifts, and suddenly he's hooked. Not because of what she's doing, but because of the way she comes alive when she talks about it. That spark is addictive. And let's not forget, living with passion and purpose also protects you. It keeps you from settling for less than you deserve. A woman who knows her worth and her mission won't waste time on someone who plays games, because her energy is too valuable. She's busy building, creating, and living fully. Men feel that. They know they can't mess around with a woman like that, because she doesn't need them to validate her. She already validates herself through her own journey. So many people think love is about losing yourself in another person. But the truth is, the healthiest, most magnetic love happens when two people are already whole, already driven, already lit up with their own passions and purposes, and they come together to share that light. That's when love feels exciting, sustainable, and real. At the end of the day, passion and purpose make you unforgettable because they give you energy that's rare. Anyone can be beautiful for a moment, but not everyone can be radiant for a lifetime. And radiance comes from within, from the fire of passion and the direction of purpose. When a man feels that in you, he doesn't just see you as attractive. He sees you as extraordinary. And that's what makes him addicted to you. Grace in communication is one of the most beautiful behaviors that not only strengthens relationships, but also makes a man truly addicted to you. Because let's face it, words are powerful. The way you communicate can either heal or wound, build or break, bring someone closer or push them away. And in love, nothing is more magnetic than a woman who knows how to express herself with clarity, strength, and grace. Think about this: anyone can scream, anyone can criticize, anyone can talk without thinking. That's easy. But it takes true strength and emotional intelligence to communicate with respect, with calm, and with wisdom, even in the heat of conflict. And that's exactly what makes grace in communication so rare and so irresistible. Let's take a real-life example. Imagine a man comes home late and forgets to call. Now, you're upset, and rightfully so. But there are two ways you could handle it. One way is to explode the second he walks in, saying things like, "You never care about me. You're always late." "I can't trust you." That kind of communication immediately puts him on defense. He stops hearing your feelings and starts hearing only accusations. But imagine another way. Instead of yelling, you take a deep breath and say, "When you come home late without calling, it makes me feel unimportant. I really need you to check in so I know you're safe and I feel valued." Same situation, but completely different outcome. Instead of a fight, it opens a door for understanding. That is grace in communication. What makes this behavior so powerful is that it's not about suppressing your feelings. It's about expressing them in a way that invites connection, not conflict. Men are not addicted to women who constantly attack, criticize, or belittle. They are addicted to women who can communicate their needs clearly while still making them feel respected and valued. Because respect doesn't mean weakness. It means power delivered with elegance. Another daily example: imagine you're out with friends and your partner says something that embarrasses you. One response could be snapping at him in front of everyone, cutting him down, and making him feel small. That damages his respect for the relationship. But if you wait until later, pull him aside, and say, "When you said that, it hurt me. I'd prefer if you kept that between us," you've handled it with grace. He's more likely to listen, more likely to apologize, and more likely to change his behavior. Why? Because you communicated with dignity instead of destruction. Grace in communication also means knowing how to listen. So many people think communication is just about talking, but the most powerful communicators are also incredible listeners. When you listen without interrupting, when you make someone feel truly heard, it creates a bond that's hard to break. Men are not always used to being listened to, really listened to. They're used to people waiting for their turn to respond or to correct them. So when a man finds a woman who listens with patience and presence, it feels like oxygen. He feels safe, respected, and understood. That's addictive. This doesn't mean you never disagree. Disagreements are natural and healthy. But grace in communication shows up in how you handle those disagreements. Do you yell? Do you insult? Do you shut down and refuse to talk? Or do you breathe, share your perspective calmly, and try to understand his as well? The difference is everything, because fights filled with insults and disrespect leave scars. But disagreements handled with grace build trust, because they show that even when things are tough, you can still respect each other. And here's something powerful. Grace in communication is not just about what you say, but how you say it. Tone, timing, body language, all of these play a role. You can say the right words in the wrong tone and still create distance. But when your words and your tone align with love and respect, you build intimacy. Imagine telling a man, "I need you to help more around the house." Said in a nagging tone, it makes him defensive. Said in a calm, loving tone, paired with appreciation for what he already does, it makes him want to step up. That's the subtle power of grace. It gets results without force. Grace also shows up in silence. Not every comment deserves a reaction. Not every argument deserves your energy. Sometimes the most graceful communication is choosing not to engage in negativity. Walking away from unnecessary conflict is not weakness. It's wisdom. It shows you value peace over pride. And that makes you magnetic, because it proves you know how to protect the energy of the relationship. What's truly inspiring about grace in communication is that it creates an environment where love can thrive. It shows that you value connection more than being right. It proves that you can stand firm in your truth without tearing the other person down. And when a man experiences that with you, he feels addicted, not because you silence yourself, but because you elevate the relationship to a higher level. Think about your own life. Who do you love talking to the most? It's not the people who argue constantly or make you feel judged. It's the people who listen, who understand, who make you feel safe to express yourself. That's exactly how men feel in relationships. The woman who communicates with grace becomes the woman he can't wait to talk to, the one he shares his secrets with, the one he dreams with. Because he knows that with her, even the hardest conversations lead to closeness, not chaos. At the end of the day, grace in communication isn't about being perfect. It's about being intentional. It's about asking yourself, do my words build or break? Do they create connection or create distance? And when your answer leans toward building and connecting, you become the kind of woman who leaves a lasting mark. Because beauty may catch his eye, but grace in the way you communicate, that's what captures his soul and keeps him coming back for more.